Okay, so good morning, everyone. Let's start now for today. As per so far in TBMS, in the previous class, we have covered about dependencies, preservation, and lossless decomposition, right? So after that, now we can move on to our normalization part, right? So now let's understand what basically the normalization is and how we perform the normalization, right? So understand in the normalization, we have certain rules to identify degree of redundancy, right? So it always, we can say basically it's used to identify your or say eliminate the redundancy. Once we identify, right, redundancy, we can eliminate them, right? So normalization, in this normalization, we have several normal forms. Normalization is nothing, just identifying the degree of redundancy, and right. And after normalization is detected, we go for decomposition of functional dependencies, right? And over function dependencies over relational table, right? And these normal forms basically basically we decompose in different normal forms. And so anyhow, we need to look over what are the normal forms, only then we can perform the decomposition in that normal form, right? So in normal form, we have starting from first normal form, then we have 2NF, that is second normal form, third normal form 3NF, then we have 3.5 NF, sometime we can say, or we say BCNF, boy Scott normal form, BCNF most popular. Then we go for 4NF and 5NF and so on. Right, but understand, after 3NF, we generally do not consider rest of. There is a reason, right? So I will just explain that. Starting from first normal form until your BCNF, right? We perform the normalization of functional dependency. Let's say X determines Y, right? Understand, when we start from first normal form and we reach out to BCNF, generally at the level when we reach the BCNF, we almost reaches to 0% redundancy over functional dependency. There is almost 0% redundancy over functional dependencies, right? And now when we talk about 4NF and 5NF and so on, this is actually over, not over X determines Y, it is over multi-valued functional dependencies. Multi-valued functional dependencies, right? X determine is a single valued functional dependency. How we represent multi-valued? X and two arrows and Y, like this one, right? And here in 4NF and 5NF so on, we have 0% redundancy over functional dependencies and multi-valued dependencies, right? So understand, generally we do not have all those multi-value dependency when we talk about real life data and real life relational scenarios, right? We reach out to BCNF, that is 0% redundancy over functional dependency set, right? So understand, in every normal form, whenever we will be given the situation, right? Understand, we will cover this normalization complete in two parts. The first part will be you are identifying the normal form, right? We'll given the set of functional dependencies, we need to identify whether given set of functional dependency is in first normal form, second normal, third, so and so on, right? In the second part, we will perform the normalization, right? And we do the normalization in the table, right? And that is what decomposing into normal forms, right? For example, given set of functional dependencies, right? It is in a second normal form, right? For example, now we need to decompose the relational table to convert into third normal form, right? Or we want to convert into BCNF normal form. In decomposition, right, we have understood. So for what we used to do, we split the tables, right? We are going to split the tables in the decomposition, right? One is normalization, another is denormalization. In denormalization, we generally used to combine the relational tables, right? That is in the very last, we'll go through it as a part of that, right? But decomposition into normal form, that's an important, right? Understand, when we split the relational table, for example, we have a relational table, right, with, let's say, over 7 attributes, right? This is my relational table over 7 attributes. I'm going to decompose the relational table into, let's say, 3 relational tables, R1, R2, R3, right? So actually what happens when we move from one normal form to two normal form and three normal form and so on, we are actually, splitting the relational table into small sub relations, right? So this is the scenario what actually happens when we move to further normalization, right? So understand, when we reach the BCNF, we almost reaches to, almost, it's not exactly, almost reaches to, a maximum split of your relational tables, which further cannot be, possibly cannot be splitted. And due to that reason, we almost receive 0%, get 0% redundancy, right? So actually that is one of the reason, right? In practical scenarios, when we split the relational table into more number of relational table, it generally become a hectic to manage all those tables, right? So that's why we generally reaches to third normal form, right? And in some cases we go to BCNF as well. Reaching to 4NF, 5NF is actually, it's not a practical, right? So this is what a part of normalization we are going to cover in our lectures, right? Okay. Before that, let's cover a few points in normalization, right? About redundancy, because it's all about redundancy in normal forms over here, right? So redundancy in relational schema. So why, redundancy occurs in relational schema? That this is because of this one. First is non-trivial functional dependent. We have seen what are trivial and non-trivial things, right? So we have non-trivial functional dependencies. That is, X determines Y with X is not super key. Remember, in any functional dependency which is a non-trivial and X determines Y and X is not a candidate super key, right? So here functional dependencies are basically what? Single value dependencies, right? These are single value, not multi-valued. We have seen. So we're gonna find the redundancy to such type of attributes which are non-trivial functional dependencies, right? And where X is not a super key. In case we will see in BCNF, whenever we have such type of functional dependence which is non-trivial and X is super key, right? X is super key, that is already in BCNF, right? So this is what we will see, right? But the thing is, we should have non-trivial functional dependencies, right, to check dependency. And the other second is non-trivial multi-value dependency, MVD, right? That is what X double arrow Y. And with again, X is not super key, right? So in case of non-trivial functional dependencies, to eliminate redundancy or functional dependency of relation R, decompose R into, let's say, BCNF, 3NF, and so on, right? Okay. So now understand, I'm gonna, make a hierarchy over here. So we'll give you a better visualization about all the normal forms, right? Okay, let me draw this. Probably in some books you may find such type of plottings, right? One more. Okay. Inside we have 4NF, let's say, and BCNF, 3NF, 2NF, 1NF. Right. So what it means, understand. This is actually the coverage of your relational tables that you have in total. Right. So now understand this reason, or say this complete reason basically. If I say 1NF, it means what? All the relational tables starting from here till the end of this one or are in 1NF, right? Starting from here now, boundary for 2NF, it means what? All the tables which is starting from here and till it goes to the center, all are 2NF, right? But understand, from these two scenarios, we can say that every table is in 1NF, but it doesn't mean that every table is also in 2NF. But understand, if a table is in 2NF, then automatically it is in 1NF, right? That's fine. Then 3NF, BCNF, and 4NF, so on. It means what? There are a very few less number of tables which are actually in 4NF, BCNF, and 3NF, and so on. Right, so we can design in this way. 1NF is superset of 2NF, 3NF, BCNF, and then 4NF, and so on. Right, so in this way we can visually understand. Right, so this is very easy that for any table relationship we can convert it into 1NF. Right, then we need to see at a few condition restrictions over functional dependencies to convert into 2NF, then 3, and so on. Okay. Now let's start from our first normal form, that is 1NF. That is first normal form, right? So relational schema R is in, understand, a relational schema R is in 1NF, right? If there is no multi-valued attribute in R, right, that's fine. Every attribute of R, understand, in the, means what? Every attribute of R must be atomic, or say single valued. Only then we say the relational schema R is in a 1NF, right? So what it means, so understand, for example, I have the relational table SID, S name, and CID, for example, right? So we have S1, S2, S3, let's say. S names are A, B, let's say A. And then in CID, we cannot have like this value. These are what? These are not atomic. It means what? In any attribute, single valued attribute or atomic, any attribute, we cannot have multi-values. That is no multi-value, right? So these are what? Not this. These two are what? Multi-value. These should not be there, right? So this is basically not in 1NF. In such scenarios, we say not in 1NF, right? Not even a relational database, RDBMS relation. It's not even RDBMS relation, right? So what we generally use to doing to avoid these scenarios, right? So we have C1 and C2. So we take one column, one row for C1 and take another row for C2, right? So we generally used to avoid, and we should avoid such type of multi-values, multi-valued attributes in the relational schemas, right? This R must be, understand, attribute of R must be atomic or single valued. Means atomicity should be there. This same we will see in transactions acid properties, right? When we move on to the next transaction, there are generally that a transaction should be atomic in nature, right? Whether it's completely completes the transaction or it do not complete, do not even initialize the transactions, right? So in that way, understand, in our DBMS, right, the default normal form of RDBMS table is your 1NF. Means if you talk about any default normal form in relational database system, that is your 1NF, right? It's not 2NF, and generally this question used to ask in your multiple choice questions, right? So understand here, in this 1NF, what we have seen, it's a kind of constraint is over single valued attribute, right? We are not looking to anything else. For example, if I want to make into 1NF, I'm gonna probably repeat these values, right? So we have same S1A, S1A 2 times, here S2B 3 times, right? So remember that degree of redundancy is a high very high in 1NF relations, right? The reason we have seen, to avoid atomicity, I mean to consider atomicity, to avoid this multi-valued attribute, we need to repeat the same set of values in the row, right? So how we can avoid these redundancies, we can design candidate key as per our RDBMS guidelines, right? So this is we have seen, I mean in the very beginning I told you, right? Your normalization, or say any part as a part of your database, everything depends on the candidate key designing part in the very beginning, right? So understand now, we talk about function dependencies. As I explained you in the here, right? We have these normal forms over functional dependency, that's X determines Y. Now let's understand, we say the function dependency is redundant or not, how we determine that, right? Now see, if I say X determines Y is a functional dependency of relation R, let's say, right? It forms a redundancy. See, these points are very important when we move on to actual normalization forms further. So it's redundancy in R, right? If and only if, understand, first point, it's a non-trivial function dependency, right? So it's obvious we have seen non-trivial function, we are looking for redundancy over non-trivial function dependency, that's good. But see, and the second point is X is not super key. I think I have just covered this part, right? So here, um, I think, right? So right now, I just return, for example, we are looking for, it's a non-trivial function dependency, and where this is not a super key, right? So obviously this is what non-trivial function dependency, for example this one, and X is not a super key, right? So if we find any scenarios here, we say X determine for is a it's a what redundant function dependencies, right? So for example, let me take a same example over here. If I say SID, S name, and CID, right? If I'm avoiding above scenarios, for example, C1 and C2, right? S2, S2, where is this condition, right? Yeah. For S2, that is for your B, I have C1, C2, and C3, right? So we have B over here. Okay, just wait. So here we have S2, right? So see, I have just split it down, and this is S3A and some C1, right? So see here, the reason is these things what? In the very beginning, I told you these are independent as well as redundant. So these are what? Redundant set of attributes, right? So the key is SID determines, for example, S name. This is fine. Yeah, SID can determine S name. This is what? Non-trivial. This is what? Non-trivial, right? So we need to avoid such scenarios, and we need to further and eliminate the redundancies. The second point that you need to take care is X determines Y, right? Functional dependency of same relation R is understand free from. One, we have seen how it is having redundant, and other is if it is free from redundancy, then how we'll get to know in our if and only if. If I say it is, obviously it's a trivial. Understand every trivial function dependency is free from redundant. Or understand it's or here. In the previous it was and, right? Or second part is X is super key. If we make X as a super key, then probably it's not redundant. Right? Why it's not redundant? Because it's the super key which can identify all the other attributes. Right? So for example, if I take relational table, understand with some attribute, and I'm writing functional dependency, let's say AB gives C, B gives D, D gives E, A, E to F, and C determines A. This is right. So understand all are non-trivial functional dependencies. All are non-trivial. We have understood how we identify trivial and non-trivial, right? And determinant, right? So what is the determinant? The left-hand side part, we say determinant, right? Determinant is not a super key over here, if you will find out, right? So all these function dependencies are forming a redundancy over here, right? So we need to eliminate this type of redundancies here, right? So in these scenarios, we understand, redundancy. There is a lot of redundancies over here in this function dependency set, in this all, right? So this is how we have seen like what we generally used to do if there is the relational set is in 1NF, first normal form, right? So see here, if I talk about second normal form, first understand the normal forms, then we'll solve some questions, right? So now how we'll detect normal. What second normal form says, the relational schema R is in 2NF, right? If and only if there is no partial dependency, no partial dependency in R. Means in second normal form, we need to detect whether in a given functional dependencies there is no partial functional dependency, right? So what is partial functional dependency? See here now, understand partial functional dependencies. If I say X, for example, X is any candidate key, understand this X is any candidate key, and Y is what? It's a proper subset of candidate key, right? Proper subset of candidate key. How we write that? Y is proper subset of X here. It means what? If let's say in X is my candidate key having 4 attributes, for example, X is A, B, C, D. All together, it determined as a candidate key. And Y is a proper subset. For example, Y can be A, B, or Y can be B, C, like this one, or Y can be A, B, C, all those. All these are proper subset, but it cannot be equal to A, B, C, D. Right? That is not subset. It's proper subset. In proper subset, we do not have equal to condition, right? We all know. And understand Z. Z is my non-prime attribute. So what are prime and non-prime attribute? Probably when we did the keys part, I make you understand. I told you what are prime attribute and non-prime attribute. So the attributes which are not present in candidate key are your non-prime attributes, or the attributes which are a part of candidate key are your prime attributes, right? So Z is what? The rest of the attributes which are not present in the candidate key, right? So what is partial function dependencies? Why? See, we know candidate key is X. So it means what? Logically, it says that X should be able to determine all the attributes. That is what the working of candidate keys, right? But if we say a Y is determining Z, This type of functional dependency is your partial functional dependency. Since Y is a proper subset of candidate key, right? And a proper subset of candidate key is determining some non-prime attribute, right? For example, if this reason is for my X, means these are the attributes altogether for my candidate key. Y is some part of this X, right? And this Y is determining some other non-prime attribute Z. Then we say this scenario is your partial functional dependencies, right? So in this way, for example, if I take relation table R, I have SID, S name, and CID, right? So if I say candidate key here is SID and CID all together is my candidate key. And if I write any function dependency, for example, SID determines, let's say S name. This is my partial functional dependency, right? So candidate key is my complete, but a part of candidate key, that is proper subset, is determining some non-prime attribute. This is a non-prime attribute, right? Because it's not a part of candidate key. So this is how we detect the normal form, second normal form, right? So I hope you have understood. If you have any doubt, just let me know. Okay, so now let's move on to 3NF, third normal form, right? Understand, relational schema R is in 3NF, right? If and only if understand, every non-trivial functional dependency, let's say X determines Y, is first point. X is super key, right? So we have seen X is super key, or see there is a or not and. Second point, Y is prime attribute. That's important. If out of these two we have any of the scenarios in X determines Y, then we say this functional dependency particularly is in 3NF. And we need to check for every functional dependencies, right? So for example, let's take my set of functional dependencies are same A, B gives C. Let's take the previous example. If you will see here, the candidate key part over here is A, B, and B, C. This is the previous example I just explained, right? Where the redundancy was there. My candidate keys are A, B, and B, C over here, right? So now let's check out which one is in 3NF. See this one. It says that X is a super key. AB is a super key. Yeah, we have seen every candidate key is a super key, but every super key is not a candidate key we have seen. So there is nothing wrong with this one, right? Since Y is also a prime attribute, so no worries. First we check for the first condition. If it fails, then we move on to the second one because there is a or. Either of one is true, 3NF. The second one, B. Okay, so B, okay, is A the candidate of the super key? I mean, this one, B part, right? So the left hand side part, is this the candidate of super key? No, it's a part actually, right? So uh, actually, this is not in 2NF as well, right? But let's check out for 3NF so far. So let's move on to the right hand side part. Is this Y part is a prime attribute? No, it's not even a prime attribute. Hence, it is not in 3NF. The same goes for here. This is neither a super key and this is nor a prime attribute, so not in 3NF. AE, neither a super key nor a prime attribute. But see here, C is not a super key, that's fine. But see Y, I mean this A part is your prime attribute. Yeah, it's prime attribute. So there is no problem with this. So understand, in a given set of functional dependencies, If even a single functional dependency fails, we say the entire relation is not in that form. If even a single functional dependency fails to prove in 3NF, we say the entire relation is not in 3NF. Right? So understand these scenarios. But actually, see what happens, even not the scenario like we have seen, even we apply 3NF, let's understand, still there are a chances we can have redundancies if the relation is in 3NF as well, right? Let me understand. For example, uh, let's take some values. I'm just writing some, random values over here. Okay. So these are some values I have taken. Okay. C3 let's take, and C4 and C1. Now I'm saying that A, B determines C and C determines A. These are my functional dependencies over here, right? So I mean, functional dependencies. So we can see in this one, the candidate key part is what? AB, if I look at this table, right? And BC will be my candidate. These are two candidate keys for my this functional dependency. But understand in this scenario, see, understand this graph. I mean, not a graph, this table properly. A1 values over here and C1 values. See, these values are there, right? Any other value? Okay, not so far. So look at these values. I said this set of functional dependencies are given and these are my candidate keys. So if I see this is 3NF, that's fine. Even this is also in 3NF. Why? This is the prime attribute, right? After having the relation and the function dependencies in 3NF, there is a redundancy over here. That is what, for example, this C1s to the A1, right? So these C1 and A1 are still redundant. So R is in 3NF. See, understand, R is in 3NF, but still there is not complete removal of functional dependencies, right? So why actually this happened? What is the reason, right? Understand. I say the proper subset. Understand this, this thing. The proper subset of candidate key. Why this happens? When we say the proper subset of candidate key is determining the proper subset of other candidate key. Understand? Proper subset of one candidate key determines the proper subset of other candidate key, right? Such type of non-trivial functional dependencies form redundancy, which is actually allowed in 3NF. See, this redundancy is actually allowed in 3NF. Proper subset of one candidate key is determining the proper subset of other candidate keys. See this part. This is proper subset of one candidate key, determining the proper subset of other candidate key. Due to this reason, C determines A, this value is forming redundancy over here, right? And see, these things are allowed in your 3NF. Understood. So when I said y is prime attribute, I said y is prime attribute. In case if I find x as a proper subset of candidate key and y being prime attribute means obviously if it is a proper subset of other candidate key, right? So such type of non-trivial function dependencies are allowed in 3NF and redundancies are still existing in 3NF, right? Then what is the solution? You want to remove this this redundancy. That is what your BCNF, right? So understand what actually happens in BCNF now. Boycott normal form, right? So what he said, his name of the scientist, the relational schema R is in BCNF if and only if understand, every non-trivial functional dependency such that X determines Y is in R, right? With X must be, see, X must be super key, right? So if I'm using any restriction, right, and saying that X must be a super key, then obviously there will be no redundancy, right? So you can take any set of attribute and we'll say that if it is if X part, that is what determinant part, is a super key, then definitely it's gonna find out every other attribute over here, right? So that's why if we say R is in BCNF, right, RC, and see when it will happen, understand when this will happen, when in every relational table we have those functional dependencies in which the determinant part is actually the super key, right? This is the only scenario is going to happen. We'll say that okay, this is in BCNF normal form, right? And we say R in BCNF, that means almost 0% redundancy is there in R over your functional dependencies of relation, right? So these are the normal forms that we use to study starting from 1 to BCNF, right? So let's understand now and how we identify the normal forms, right? So let's understand with the help of a few examples now, will more clear in this one. So see, I have the relational R. Okay, fine. So the set of functional dependencies are, for example, ABD determines C, BC determines D, and CD determines E. This will be given. We need to check which one is the highest normal form satisfied by this set of functional dependencies, right? So understand this will be given to you in the question, right? Understand very first thing is you need to find out the set of candidate keys. And see, we have done a lot of questions and we have already covered this part, how to find out the candidate keys. You can have more than one candidate keys and for a given question, right? So we need to identify properly, right? So when you start solving the question for normal form, right? So generally used to understand one thing, right? If you identify a wrong set of candidate keys, definitely your concept may be correct for identifying the normal form, but definitely the answer will be wrong because your question start from candidate keys itself in any normal form normalization question you can think of, whether it's decomposition part or whether it's detection part, right? So in this question, I have find out the candidate keys are ABD and ABC. Right, so I have already calculated the candidate keys are two candidate keys over here. Right, so now check which one is the highest normal form. So understand when we when we talk about the questions to identify the highest normal form, right? We generally used to start from the back. Back means first check for the BCNF. It's easy. I mean, it's a kind of, it's not a procedure, right? So it's you can just say it's a short trick or say the way good approach to solve the questions fast, right? So first look at BCNF, then 3NF, and then so on, right? So let's say if we find some relation in the question, right? And we have found the relation is in BCNF. I mean, the function of dependencies are in BCNF. There is no need to check for 3NF, 2NF. By default, they will all be in 3NF and 2NF, right? So this is what we have seen in the very beginning. If I said this is in BCNF, right, so definitely it will cover all these function dependencies. Highest form, let's see the highest form, right? So see here now the candidate key ABD and ABC, right? Let's start looking at BCNF. BCNF says the determinant part must be super key, right? In case let's see at candidate key whether this XABD okay, this is fine in BCNF, but CBC, this is not a super key and neither candidate key. Hence, this relation is not in BCNF. Now let's move on to 3NF, right? So what 3NF says? See, 3NF says either X is super key or Y is prime attribute, right? Okay, for this one functional dependency is already in super key BCNF, that's fine. But for look for 3NF, this one. Is this the super key or candidate key? No. Is this the prime attribute? Right. Is this the prime? Yeah, this is prime attribute. So this is in 3NF. Now see the third part. Is this the super key? No. Is this the prime attribute? No. E is not prime attribute. Hence, this is not in 3NF. See, single functional dependency fails 3NF. Entire relation is not in 3NF. Right. Now let's check 2NF. What 2NF say? There should not be partial function dependency. Right. No partial function dependency should be there. And we understood what is partial function dependencies. Right. Part of what your candidate key is identifying some non-prime attribute. Okay. So these are candidate keys. See, there is nothing wrong. This is complete candidate key identifying. So that's fine. 2NF. See here. BC, is BC a part of? Yeah, this is a part of what? Your candidate key. So is this not in 2NF or this is in 2NF? See, generally students used to commit mistake over here, right? The 2NF says this part Y should be proper subset. That's fine, but understand this Z must be non-prime attribute. Only then this is partial function dependencies, right? Here in this question, I mean, if Y is AB, for example, AB is determining, let's say C, then this is not partial function dependency. Why? C is not non-prime attribute. C is prime attribute. I said ABCD is candidate key. This Y part must be non-prime attribute. I mean the Z in this scenario, right? So here CD, okay, that's fine. CD is, it's a CD is, it's a part, for example, even this is not a part as well. That's fine. But E is what? E is not prime attribute. E is non-prime attribute. So see here in this functional dependency, if I talk about this CD, is this CD is partial functional dependency. See in this question, in this topic. This y is a part, I mean, here we have this one candidate key. If we have some other candidate key, second one, right? I mean, if you can see, yeah, this is one candidate key, right? And this y is part of one candidate key. The question comes, for example, if we have some other, let's say CDE is my other candidate key over here. This is my first candidate key and this is my second candidate key, right? So this y, if y is a part of both of the candidate key, for example, D and E, if I say D and E, okay, D is in this part over here, right? So if I say AD, AE, see, A and E are prime attribute, understand why? Because A is from here and E is from here, right? But AE is not a proper subset of any of the candidate key. I mean, all together I'm talking about, not single individual, right? Here, C and D. C is from here and D is from here, right? So it's not a proper subset. Understand? It's not a proper subset, right? And E is E is okay. E is what? It's a non-prime attribute, right? So there is nothing wrong with this one. Understand? this is a conceptual mistake that most used to do. In this partial functional dependencies, any other scenario, any scenario other than this part is in 2NF. Understand? Y should be proper subset of candidate key. If Y is not a proper subset of candidate key, whatever Z is, this is in 2NF. If Y is proper subset of candidate key, and if Z is prime attribute, the other scenario for Z can be prime attribute, is in 2NF. Right? So in this question, CD is not a proper subset, but E is okay, non-prime. That's nothing. That's fine. Right? Since this is not proper subset, this is in 2NF. Right? So every condition of functional dependency is satisfying 2NF. So by default, it will be in 1NF. Right? So you can just let me know if you have any doubt in this one. Along with this one, right? Especially I'm just talking about 2NF most, because most used to have doubt in this one over here. Understand, in 2NF, I said, if this part is not in functional dependency, right? This is partial functional dependency, is Y is a proper subset of your candidate key, right? But understand, if there is no partial dependency, if there is no partial dependency, then see, you need to take care of this point. Then still check what? Proper subset. The proper subset of candidate key identify the closure. It's equals to only some prime attribute. Only then, understand, only then we can say that there is no partial dependency. Understand what I said? This is important, because generally we used to miss this point. If there is no partial dependency, right? Okay, we have identified, for example, in any question there is no partial dependency, we need to check proper subset of candidate key, the identify the closure, right? The proper subset of candidate key should contain only prime attribute. Only then we say, okay, there is no 100% now guaranteed there is no partial dependency, right? Understand? Let's understand with the help of one example. Is the okay? Let's spend 2-3 minutes. I have A, B, C, D. Functional dependencies are A, B gives C and B, C gives D. Right? My candidate key over here is AB. Right? You can say AB gives C and BC gives D. So candidate key is AB. Right? Now check normal form. Right? Check for BCNF. BCNF is it possible? No, not for this one, because this is not a super key. Check for 3NF. What 3NF says? Either X should be candidate key or Y should be prime attribute, super key, right? So here, okay, this is fine, but D is not a prime attribute. Even this is not a super key, this is not a prime attribute. And this is not in 3NF. 2NFC now. For 2NF partial dependency, there is no partial dependency. Why? Because this is not a part of, not proper subset of candidate key. But see here, right? BC, is BC the proper subset of candidate key? No, right? Directly I am looking at this one. If first condition fails, then move on to the then don't no need to move to the second one. That is what this non-prime attribute. This one is okay, that's fine, right? In 2NF, right? So we can say this set of functional dependency is in 2NF, right? Okay, let's take other example, A, B, C, D. And AC gives D. These are functional dependencies. My candidate key, if you will find out, that is A, B and BC over here. Right. Now let's check. Check for BCNF. Is this in BCNF? Okay, not okay. Even this is also not okay. Why? Because X is not super key. So BCNF, no. Let's look at 3NF. Right. So 3NF says X must be super key or Y prime attribute. This is okay. This is candidate key. Now this one, this is not super key. Is this the prime attribute? Yeah, this is the prime. So there is nothing wrong. But see here, AC is a not super key and neither D is not a prime attribute. Hence 3NF fails here. Right. Now let's say 2NF. This is important. Right. See, you need to check 2NF very carefully. Keep this thing in mind. First one, is there any issue with this one? No. AB is completely. Right. Now see here. See, this is what? This is a proper subset of candidate key. Why BC? This is proper subset of BC candidate key. Now see A. Is A, if first condition is true, then move on to the second one. First is say partial proper subset of candidate key. Yeah, it is. Now move on to second. Is this non-prime attribute? No, this is prime attribute. Hence, there is nothing wrong with 2NF, partial dependency. This attribute is in 2NF. Now see this part, AC, right? So AC is this partial functional dependencies, AC, right? See, AC is not, AC is say it's not your, but is this the partial one? I mean, is the proper subset of candidate keys any of that, right? So you can say A is from here and C is from here, right? Now check at this part D. Right, okay, let's see. This condition fails, right? That's fine, and even this is non-prime attribute. But what I told you, if there is no partial dependency, understand, if there is no partial dependency, then still check proper subset of candidate key. The closure of proper subset of candidate key should only be prime attribute. If this is okay, then we say it is, there is no partial dependency, right? So in this one we can say that why we are checking only this one, right? Because AB is completely, it's not what partial dependency means. The attributes are completely of one candidate key. Here in this one, right, check for A closure and C closure, because the proper subset of candidate key here are, but A closure and C closure. For example, B closure is also there. But if you'll find out independently the A closure and C closure, this is giving A only, and this is giving what? From C to A, that is AC, right? Even this is giving D also, right? See, AC giving D also. If it is say proper subset of candidate key is identifying only prime attribute, then we say it's not a partial dependency. But see, D is not what? Prime attribute. That's why this is not even in 2NF. This is in only 1NF. You need to understand this. And we check this part only in those function dependency where we have the candidate keys. I mean, where we have such type of scenarios where we get the attributes, right? Some part attribute means one attribute is of one candidate key and other attribute is of some other candidate key. We need to check this part only in those scenarios, right? Because independently, individually, these are actually what um, your proper subset of each candidate key, for example, right? So because but these scenarios you will get rarely in the questions, but you need to again check for this condition as well, right? why there is no there is a partial dependency. I mean, why we are not getting this in 2NF, right? I will explain you in the next class with the help of taking some values, right? So you will properly understand, I mean, why this is not in 2NF, right? So actually time is over probably, and we'll solve 2 or 3 more question, good question, and there are a few points also you need to remember, right? So all these we'll see in the next class. Okay, so that is for today, and even in the next class we'll start decomposing into normal forms, right? So okay, let me stop recording.